morning, everyone. This is a shout out to all the California Association of Realtors in California that I know, brokers, agents who are my friends. This is just a quick update about the C.A.R. forms release that is scheduled for December 16th. So next week, the forms are being updated. My understanding there are going to be 55 forms in total. Two are new, and then the rest are being updated. The purchase agreements being updated, the listing agreements being updated, along with some other forms. You have two new forms that are going to be released. I would definitely go to www.car.org and we'll discuss that today. But I wanted to really specifically go over for those of you who are CRMLS members what you need to do. I know that we have a rule, or we've had rules in the MLS since beginning of COVID called the Clear Cooperation. It's um, a ruling that was passed down from NAR to CAR in our contracts to the MLS. It says when someone signs a listing agreement with a realtor that they're obligated to input it into the MLS. Now, granted, over the years, through all the various different lawsuits and things that have been happening, these things have changed um, a lot over time. Basically, recently with uh, this past year and some of the lawsuits that NAR has been dealing with, as well as watching amongst different corporations going over, uh, who has the rights to market, where they need to market, things like that. Forms have been updated for CAR. And these are things that we definitely need to be mindful of. Now, just after the NAR settlement, there was an update about two and a half years ago, back in 2024, I do believe. So almost 2 years. The MLS Clear Cooperation language was taken out of the residential listing agreement, the RLA form, and put into a separate form called the MLSA form. That stands for the Multiple Listing Service Agreement or Addendum form. I think it's agreement. But let me just show you. So basically, that form had a lot of things in there about clear cooperation, what agents who were part of the MLS obligated to do per the MLS rules, depending on where they were at in the state of California. I'm sure a lot of states have something very similar that are out there. Um, but that's been kind of modified. One of the biggest things that CRMLS has done is they came up with a couple of methods to help accommodate clear cooperation, like no marketing, limited pre-marketing, like the coming soon status, and of course, active listings being marketed fully to the internet, this, that, and the other. And then, of course, now with how consumers are, that's being changed. So, with that said, let's share our screen. And let me share my screen. And then we'll go over today looking at that one section of the MLSA form, section two of the MLS Multiple Listing Service Addendum, not agreement, addendum form. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to zoom in and we're going to take a look at this information just a little bit. Now, we just had a class from CAR yesterday that was free to all CAR members, and we'll go over where you should look for this information. But you can preview the form in its entirety, but today we're just going to look at the marketing option that's being updated here in the MLSA form come December 22nd, or I'm sorry, December 16th of 2025. So here we have a marketing option um, section, paragraph 2 of the MLSA form. Here in red, we are going to see that the marketing option selected below shall start at the beginning of the listing period or a date indicated or a blank area of whatever else needs to be written in. Now you have several options here when it comes to marketing. You've got the full exposure of the listing. So basically, the marketing of the property with full exposure to the public will begin at the beginning of the listing period. That means, per the MLS rule 7.8, 7.9, you've got no more than two calendar days to input that listing into the MLS as an active listing. So you're going to go into the MLS, you're going to mark it as an active property. Now, we've also got some other choices here. B, you got some delayed marketing with limited exposure. So only applicable if allowed by the MLS, which they've talked about not being compliant, but there are ways of limiting advertising within the MLS system that we'll take a look at. So here, paragraph B, or paragraph 2, subsection B, delayed marketing. If the seller has said, sure, I want you to market the property, but I want it to be delayed, there being a delayed exposure, limited exposure, seller understands that even though the property will be submitted on the MLS, so you're marketing it to members of the MLS for only MLS users to see, you're not publicly marketing it out to all the public websites. You're going to be able to modify that just a bit. So here it's not going to be syndicated to any third-party websites nor exposed through other member IDX websites, anything like that. So let's take this into, you know, into this realm. So paragraph 2, subsection B, where there's going to be delayed marketing. Here, what you're going to do in the MLS is when an agent is going to input a listing and the seller has indicated that there's going to be a delay in that marketing to the public, then when you're inputting your listing into the MLS, what you're going to then look for is here under the Office MLS section, you have a choice down below here that before you're selecting no, you want to look at these things. So here we've got internet onto the entire our entire listing to be displayed on every internet website, found publicly, Google searches, all this other stuff. What you're going to do is that as you're inputting this listing and you're putting in your listing agreement date, your expiration date, you're going to then come down below if that paragraph 2 subsection B is marked, you're going to then all of a sudden change the option of internet or the listing going out to the internet from yes to no. You're also going to change everything else that goes to the internet as no's. So that's one way of being able to be compliant. It's almost like under the listing agreement type, the service type. So you have your exclusive right to sell, but then under your listing service, it's going to be a limited service. Because right now that limited service, even for a time period, and you can probably change that, which you probably want to talk to your broker about, is that you're going to mark it as a limited service, and then you're going to come down below and under where it says marketing on the internet, you're going to then mark no's so that the listing does not go out to the internet. It's not going to be found on IDX Fed websites. It's not going to be on Zillow's. It's not going to be on even your company's public website at all. You're going to be only limited to just the MLS. So be careful of that paragraph 2. Now, another thing to look at here, you've got coming soon. You've got the information about coming soon, pre-marketing the property, no showings allowed, things like that, which you're also going to need to make sure that you fill out the CRMLS seller's instructions to input listing as a coming soon form through the CRMLS library found in your zip forms, in zip forms. So you're going to have to switch it from the C.A.R. library to the CRMLS. But then when you're inputting that listing as coming soon, then it doesn't matter if it goes out to the internet or not at that point, right? Because coming soon does not go out to the internet. But it does go out to the um, I think it's the VAL websites, and I'm sure somebody from will just get clarification on that because I know that can be a little bit confusing. But when it comes to inputting a listing at that point in the very beginning, you're going to mark that the property is as coming soon. So if the client marks in their MLSA form and you do the CRMLS form for instructions of coming soon, where it also explains what the CRMLS rules and regulations are for inputting a listing as coming soon to your client, that both, or that not only your clients, but you and your broker have signed. Then you're going to mark your listing as coming soon. And then under the Office MLS tab, you now have a start showing date, because part of coming soon is that you're not allowed to have any showings for a period of up to 21 days um, while it's in coming soon. So that means that the property has to be active to allow people to go and view that property um, physically. On top of your then property will then be marketed to all the other property websites. So here you're going to put in your listing agreement date, you're going to put in your listing end date, and of course you're going to put in that start marketing date, which is indicated on that CRMLS form. When does that listing begin to start being allowed to be marketed to the public, to allow public the public and agents to go and view and show that home? So those are things to remember here. Uh, so that's paragraph 2, subsection, or paragraph 2, subsection C of the MLSA form. Lastly, paragraph D. Paragraph D here says office exclusive limited exposure. Not all MLSs have implemented the following NAR guidance, and the seller should discuss to the broker what is allowed under this MLS rule, which I would highly recommend, right? But marketing the property as an office limited exposure, this instructs the broker to exclude the property from full dissemination by the MLS for the period for the time period listed below, which is right here, for the full exposure to go out. This is where I think registering the property will come in, but we'll get some clarification. So if the MLS, by MLS, if allowed by the MLS under the NAR guidance, broker may engage in one-to-one communication with other licensees who may communicate with their clients, but may not mass market the property to the current, past, or prospective clients. Seller's property may be shown to clients of agents of the broker, but not to clients of other brokers. So this is where the definition of the registered listing comes in. So here, this means that the property is going to be a registered property, whereby it could be for the entire period of the listing agreement or until a certain set date. At which point, you're going to then follow the MLS rules, paragraph 7.9 of the MLS rules, is that when you're uh, going to log into the MLS, instead of inputting that listing into the MLS because of that limited exposure, you're going to then register the property. So over here to the right-hand side or left-hand side, when you're at the RE Core dashboard before logging into the MLS. So if that paragraph is marked here, paragraph D, limited exposure, whereby it's going to be limited for the entire listing period or a set period of time, then what you're going to need to do is register this property. So in this case, you're going to click on registered listings, and then you're going to follow the prompts to basically input the listing in the registered section. It's really easy to do. It's a simple 4 easy steps to register a property. All you got to do, click on registered listings, click on new. You're going to follow step 1 of inputting the listing detail or the listing address. So here you can either search for the address of the property, which by the way, that's on the contract, or you're going to manually input the address in yourself, but I would say search for the property address. So if you put in the address 2552 La Paz Road, right, in Laguna Hills, that automatically fills out all the required information. From here, we're going to come over to the bottom right-hand side and click Next to go to stage 2, the listing information. Now, the listing information, unlike inputting a listing into the MLS, It's very limited. All you got to do is select what type of listing agreement you have, residential, land, income, or lease. In this case, my residential listing agreement is a residential for sale. What the list price is, so basically maybe what my list price is to the property. So 1,200,000. The listing contract date. Here you notice that it defaults with today's date only because it's going to assume that we got the listing today, but you cannot backdate this greater than 2 days. Per the MLS rules 7.8, 7.9, you are to either register or input the listing into the MLS within 2 calendar days of getting that listing agreement. So that also includes your weekend. So if you take a listing on a Saturday, that means that by Monday, that property should either be in the MLS or registered. So be very, very careful. Okay. Here you have a start marketing date. Well, your start marketing date based on this agreement, begin marketing on the MLS on a particular date. So they've actually defined it just enough for you to be able to begin to market the property, right? Or you just go with section one. Do not market the property at all during the entire listing period. Basically, is that's what this is saying. And I love the fact that they've also said that the property will be submitted to the MLS within 1 business day within marketing of a property. So that falls in line with the MLS Rule 7.9 as well. The moment you begin to market the property, you've got 1 day to make sure that that listing's in the MLS. So basically you've got to be careful of how we're marketing that property for our clients. But here, if you have a start marketing date, so if you've got paragraph 2, subsection D, super sub paragraph 2, then you're going to put in a start marketing date. If the property is not going to be marketed at all, you're going to skip that and then just put in the expiration date of your listing. By the way, no start marketing date at all indicated on that MLSA form. Okay. And then you're going to put in the expiration date to your listing. Maybe it's 03/31, 2026. From here, we're going to now go to next. We've got ourselves down as the listing agent. If you have a co-agent, partner, team, you can always put in that listing agent or that co-listing agent user ID or their name or their email address. And then after that, when we hit confirm, we're going to review everything and then hit save. The moment you do that, you've now successfully registered that property. Now, if things, and you notice here, start marketing date, there is no marketing set for this. Now, say come tomorrow. Maybe you and your client have talked a little bit more and they go, you know what, Tony, we want to begin to market the property very, very soon. We are changing our minds. Obviously, we're going to do an amendment or an addendum to that MLSA form for that contract. From there, we can always come back under our registered listings, hit the pencil icon, and change whatever we need to change. So maybe now they want to add a start marketing date. Okay, on this date, we want you to begin to market it. Again, we simply follow next, confirm, save. And now what this will do is that this will put in our list and change. Now, while the property is here, if for some reason somebody says, hey, I think Anthony's got a listing agreement with John Smith of 25552 La Paz Road, is the property listed? I've heard him talk about it in our office meeting because we're part of the same office, but I don't see it in the MLS. Now MLS can go into your registered list and see what properties you've successfully have registered. And there they can say, yes, Anthony has an exclusion. It looks like he's registered the property. He's only talking about it in his meetings. So, you'll have to discuss with Anthony and his clients of how people are to show this listing. Now, when it comes to your registered status, showings are only allowed with agents within the office, not the brokerage necessarily. If it's multiple, one broker for multiple offices, it's with that particular office, not the company. So, say, Jack and Jill Real Estate of Irvine. I can't market this listing that's registered to Jack and Jill Real Estate of San Clemente or Tustin or Sacramento. I can only market this property and allow agents of my Irvine office to go and see it. Now, for them to go and see it, they must have some sort of buyer broker agreement. Um, so we're not going to beat that horse, but yes, for allowing any showings to happen, either my clients that want to see the property or the other agents within my office must have a buyer broker agreement, and at that point we can then show it. We just now need to be careful that we don't talk about it or market it anywhere else to the public, because that form, that MLSA form, paragraph 2 subsection D, we've indicated that there is going to only be limited exposure to this office. So be very, very careful, especially if you've got clients that like to tell other people what is out there. So be very, very careful. Now, say the day comes, December 25th, we need to now get this listing over into the MLS. And maybe I want to do this the day before. Don't do it minutes after you register it, because once you register it, you need to leave it here until that start marketing date. Reason why is that when we're about to move this, this will then disappear out of my registered list and then go immediately into the MLS. Okay. So property needs to be fully exposed. Maybe I do that paragraph 2D2 here on the MLSA form, where marketing is to begin on December 25th. Then what I'm going to do is on December 24th, come over here back into the RE core under my registered listings. And now for my registered property, I'm then going to come over to this green sheet of paper icon to the far right that says move or send over to the MLS. When I click on that, it's now going to remove this and send it over to the MLS. At which point I can then go back into the MLS and under add edit, I can now find this property under my incompletes. And hopefully we've got that here. Come on. When I pull up that property under the listings under my quick modify, I'm going to find my incomplete listing. And as you can see, I use my office or my old office address here. But here we find our old MLS listing or our incomplete listing. We're going to now open it up and begin to modify that listing. So the day before you want to do this, you don't want to do this a week before or anything like that. But during that limited exposure, maybe we schedule our photographers, maybe we get everything done, because as you notice with the registered property, we did not need to have photos because we're not marketing the property to the public. Here, during that time period, while maybe the property is being modified or what have you, we then get the necessary things done for the marketing, pictures, things like that. I now move it over. And now when I go to edit the residential details of this property, I can now input the full listing, upload my photos. Then when I hit submit, everything will be out there to the world to see. So this is how easy, and some of the changes that are coming down the pike. I know that they added in a lot more language due to that NAR settlement, due to the new cases that have come about in 2025 when it came to marketing a property and trying to adhere to what the sellers need and want real estate agents to do, and how the MLS rules can help out with this. So hopefully I should say, I hope that most of you all found this very helpful and useful. If you do have any questions, please make sure that you reach out to your MLS system, CRMLS. Their phone number is 1-800-925-1525. I'm sure um, they'll have just the same explanation as I do, but this is what I see, um, or how you all can adhere to the MLS rules when it comes to marketing your property based on the new contracts being updated this day forward. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to see what one of the paragraphs for the residential listing agreement, we've got things about photography and digitally modified and altered based on new updated laws by California. So that means if you're changing things like the sky, so if you're updating anything that would change the aesthetics or the true view of that, not enhancing lighting of a photo, that's exposure, that's different. But if you're literally taking out furniture, taking out walls, um, things like that, you've got to have a place, you've got to show what that original photo looks like. Now, I know the MLS says if you have a photo that's altered, you've got to indicate under that photo description that the photo has been altered, but now you've also got to show or have a way for members of the public to view what those original photos do look like because we have to paint a true picture. Now, this probably also falls in line with your MLS, or I'm sorry, your NAR code of ethics, whereby we show representation and truthness in on all of our advertising. I want to say that's Article 12 and Article 15. Um, I think it's Article 12 specifically about truth in advertising. So when we get those photographers that alter the pictures and enhance them and things like that, we got to be mindful that we have to disclose that. If we've got these new features like AI that are literally putting in furniture in an empty house, that's altering the photos. So anything like that, or if you're taking out people or you're, you know, scrubbing out things, blurring out things, you're modifying the photo. So be very, very careful in those things. So look for this paragraph. It's a whole section here. Paragraph 12, subsection C looks to be an entirely brand new paragraph because it's fully highlighted in red to fall in line with current California laws. So I would definitely take a look at that. So, with all that said, because there's a lot, and I know a lot of brokers that are my friends here on Facebook here in California, or they're in California because I'm now here in North Carolina. How do you find out about these things? Well, very simply, I would go to CAR.org's website. You have access to all their trainings, all their updates, their risk management, mitigation, everything. What you want to do is just simply go to CAR.org. From there, what you're going to then do is you're going to go move your mouse here at the very top, center, off to the left, transaction center. From here, what you're then going to do is you're going to go to their standard forms, and here you can access the latest and greatest forms after you log into the website. If you want to see webinars about their legal live webinars, things like that, then what you're going to also do, let me go back, is that I want to say is it Learn and Thrive? No, it is the Transaction Center. Back under the Transaction Center, under this dark blue bar, you're going to then go to the Risk Management. And from here, you're going to look for the legal Q&As or their, where is it? Legal live webinars specifically. From there, they have a ton of legal live webinar classes that are all free, two of which are one from yesterday about the updated forms with residential. They said that next week on the 16th, they're actually going to release a new webinar on the forms related to leases. There's a lot of that. And they just did last a couple of days ago the legal update for 2026 new updated laws that are going to take into effect January 1 of 2026. So a lot of great information there. So go to those legal live webinars. Neil is the host. He's great. I love him there at C.A.R. So he works in their legal department. So he does a lot of these webinars for you all at no cost. So just simply go to the legal live webinars. You can access all their training at no cost to you. That's part of your member benefit. Just log into the CAR.org website like you would your zip forms. And there you can access all their trainings, get access to their handouts, their slide deck, and this is a great learning tool for you. There is a lot of changes for 2026, solar, pertaining to leases, what a housing provider has to provide now in the house. I think I saw something about stoves and refrigerators. So double check that stuff. I do believe, yeah, there's a ton of stuff. So take a look at that. I think you all would enjoy it. And with that said, if you do need any technical training, my name's Anthony. I work and CEO. I'm CEO and founder of SmartRESolutions. I am a technology trainer. I love showing real estate agents how to utilize tech for their business. If you do have any questions on how to use AI, how do I access zip forms, how do I use it for digital signings, how do I use RPR, Realtor Property Resource, or any other tools that maybe the MLS offers, I am here for you. Feel free to visit my website at www.smart, SMART, solutions with an SOLUTIONS.net. That's my website. And here we'll just go back and share my screen again. Hold on. This is my website. Feel free to peruse, learn a little bit more about us. Feel free to contact me, call me, book an appointment. Love to sit down with you. I do one-on-ones. I do brokerage training. I do association training for a very nominal fee. So I think it's well worth it. Great for an hour, or if you want to hire me at an association for a half day or a day, we can discuss what those fees are, and would love to work with you. So if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to call me. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, share. Please make a comment. I'd love to hear more from you. Love to go over more and more contracts with you all, especially when they get released out for next week. So lots of fun changes. And with that said, I hope you all have a great and wonderful day. Again, Tony Anthony, smartresolutions.net. You can reach me via email, Tony, Tony, at smartresolutions.net, or feel free to call me at 949-235-8582. With that said, hope you have a great and wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon.